This is Deanna.
This is Candace.
And you're listening to
No Fucking Way.
I know people do it. I see people do it. But sometimes when I mean, more power to you if you're just willing to risk taking your baby into like a nail salon or a hair salon. I have way too much anxiety for that. I would not dare.
Like, are you worried about her getting sick or smelling the fumes?
No, I'm worried about her starting to scream her fucking head off and I'm getting my nails done. I cannot tend to her. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't
I don't
that
think
the
a
worst?
nail salon's a place for a baby.
No, it's not at all, but people do
Unless
it.
you know, well, and you can't really know for sure, but unless your like baby's nap time is like, 2 to 5 or whatever, and you're like, all right, I know she's going to be sleeping in this stroller for the next 3 hours, so.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be pretty confident, but at the same time, like baby's nap time, that baby's not normally napping in her stroller. So she's not gonna nap the same. I just cannot risk it. So I'm doing these.
So you could precondition your baby to nap in the stroller, and then you could take them wherever you want.
Yeah.
See, I could be a parent.
Yeah.
Let me babysit Blair and Hazel this weekend.
Okay, I'm sure Peter would absolutely jump on that. Say, oh, Deanna wants some? Sure. I'm like, Peter, Deanna's never babysat before in his life. He's like, well, that's fine. This is first time for everything.
That isn't true. I have babysat, but I've never babysat for more than one child.
When is the last time you babysat? And how old were they?
The last time I babysat was probably 13 years ago.
Okay.
And they were like 7 and 5.
Okay. So okay. So probably
like that's the first time I was it's not the last time I was handled a child, but that's the last time I was like alone.
Yeah. This would probably be
with a
way
child.
different. When's Cody's sister having her baby? At Christmas?
November or December.
Oh, that'll be fun. You'll get a lot of practice in then, maybe, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
that'll
we will, I'm sure.
What is it? You know what it is?
It's a girl.
Oh my god, that's even better.
I'm actually working on her blanket right now.
Really? That's even better.
Do you still have Blair's blanket?
Of course I do. And I actually have it in Hazel's room now because Hazel's room is like more purpley. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a mauve color, but it goes really cute with Hazel's room, so it's actually in there.
Oh, okay, cute.
They're sharing. I wanted to find like a fun scenario to have as like an opener, but all I started reading about was those astronauts that are stuck in space.
Oh. I saw a meme about that. But I didn't know what was going on. They're still stuck?
Yes, they're not coming back until February.
Oh, well, are they going to be okay or?
Yeah, because I guess in any scenario, like when you go to space, I think I read you have like 100 days worth of stuff, like food, water, whatever necessities that, no matter how long you're going up there for, which the mission, whatever, I don't even know what they were doing. What's anyone ever doing in space? But they were only supposed to be up there for a week, and they went in June. And something broke. I don't know. Something broke. And now they can't come back until February.
Oh my god.
June to February. It's a man and a woman.
Well,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because what? Because they have to. I was reading.
Do they have communication with?
Yeah. Yeah,
Earth?
they've like sent a picture. They like took a picture and sent it, and I mean they have. What the fuck do you do up there for that long? They're missing the whole year.
I don't know. It actually sounds kind of nice. Could somebody fling me into space until the beginning of next year?
Like, do they have Wi-Fi? To have communication like that? What are they doing up there?
I don't know, but they're going to be sick of each other by the end of it.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine being stuck with your coworker for 6 months?
I can't imagine being stuck with someone that I like. in such tight quarters for that long, right? Who
Yeah,
would
I
you want to
know.
be in? Who would you want to be stuck in space with? Would you rather be alone or with someone?
I mean, you know what? My answer is going to be alone.
I mean, can you go out and just like float around? Is it safe? Can they do that? Can they just go floating?
No, I don't think so.
They can't get out. They can't go out of
Mm-mm.
their. I feel like I've seen too many movies where they just do that at their own leisure. They just go float out.
I mean, I
But
don't know. I could be
that's-
wrong.
that seems very dangerous, though,
Yeah, it does.
because I don't think they went up there to exit the whatever they went up there in. I don't know. I sound so stupid when I talk about space, but that June to February, those people.
Hmm. It seems kind of crazy that they would be stuck there that long, but what do I
I
know?
know. Well, I also don't understand why it's February, like what the time frame is. Like something broke and they have to get the piece. You know how it is when you're getting like car maintenance done, they got to get the piece and we're on land and it takes months. So I
You're
would
right.
imagine
Yeah.
February seems about right. That's terrifying. But I guess I feel like you go up there with that not that expectation, but like there is a possibility.
You know what though? I'd rather be stuck in space than be stuck in like a submarine. Don't you think?
I don't know. I
Like
I feel
if it was the same exact, like you have 100 days worth of whatever, you're stuck with somebody, you're gonna live, you're gonna make it, okay? But you're stuck
yeah,
either in space or you're stuck in a submarine. What would you rather?
yeah, space for
Space seems
sure.
cooler. I don't know why.
Well, not cooler. I'm terrified of both, but I just feel like you would hear more things and probably see more things if you're in the ocean. Like you would
Which
hear
could be
some.
cool. You know, it could
I
be
don't know.
entertaining.
Could be so fucking scary too. You
I
see
want to
some
know
type
if
of
they're gonna be on the lookout for like aliens and shit while they're up there.
right, right. Like in the ocean, I feel like there's a guarantee you're gonna see something so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the ocean. I hate the ocean.
Well, I want to tell my fart story real quick.
Okay, do.
Uh, Cody and I went to see Shane Gillis, the comedian,
Oh.
this past Saturday, and we're sitting there. We got there like way too early because I'm annoying like that, and
Your
we're just
text.
sitting there waiting for the show to start. And people are, there's lots of people filing in, getting their seats or whatever. And I was talking about something to Cody, and this guy, I can sense there's this guy walking down the stairs, like right next to us. And he stops like 2 steps down from like where my seat was, lets his leg out, and just, and it was a long one. Okay. It
Here,
wasn't just like a,
here's the text that Deanna sent me. We hadn't talked all day. She texted me Saturday at 7:18 p.m. We're at the arena in Duluth for a comedy show, and this guy just came down the steps, stopped, let his leg out a little bit, and farted for about 10 seconds straight. And then he and his friends just proceeded to their seats.
yep. No one acknowledged it. No one laughed. Like his friends didn't say anything. He didn't laugh. He didn't say anything. They just continued on like that didn't happen, and they for sure had to have noticed because he like stopped to fart.
Have you seen the people, which it's not funny. I don't think stuff like that's funny at all. But have you seen the people with like the little fart machines and stuff?
Yes, Cody
Do you
loves
think
those
that's what it was?
videos.
But do you think that's what it was?
No, I think it was real. But what was funny was Cody likes those videos. Like he thinks those videos are funny and they come
Oh
up
my
in
god,
his YouTube feed or whatever.
I hate
And
those.
I looked at him and I
Wait,
started
he heard it?
laughing.
He
Yeah,
heard
he
it
heard it.
also?
He heard it, and I was like, "Did that seriously just happen?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "We're gonna be in one of your fart videos," and he was like, "I don't know. I think that was real."
Oh my god. I hate stuff like that so much.
But I did laugh because I felt awkward. But you're
Yeah.
right. I don't think that is funny, really. But I was just like,
You just
I
laugh
can't
because
believe this
yeah, because
seriously just happened.
you're so uncomfortable.
Right.
Was it close to you?
Yeah.
Like you could
He was
smell it?
like 3 feet away. I
No.
didn't smell
No.
anything, thank God.
No. If you're sitting somewhere, say that you guys are at the show and the person next to you farts like that, do you say something?
I
And
don't
what
think I would.
but do you react at all? Do you, like, look at them? Do you, like, fan in front of your
I
face? Like, what do
I
you
think I
do?
would probably, like, look at them like, "What the fuck?"
What if it was an old lady?
I would say, like, "Are you okay?" Oh, Cody said that in some of those fart videos, like, the old women, that
Yeah.
sometimes they'll say stuff, they'll be like, "Do you feel better now?"
Yeah. So if it's, like, an old lady versus, like, a guy that's 30, who do you say something to? If it's an
I
old
would
lady, you
probably
let them
say
know.
if I had to pick one to say something to, it'd be the guy, but
You know what I wanted to text back to you, and then I have 2 kids. It was difficult, but I had all these things I wanted to text back to you, but I thought, you know how you say when you go to the bathroom, you put AirPods in because you don't wanna know if you're making any noises? I'm like, you've probably made that noise multiple times in the bathroom, and you just have no
okay, I
idea
did that one time when I had
'cause
to
you
poop
have
at the
headphones.
airport.
Someone's probably text each other the same scenario, and it was you in the stall next to them, and
Okay,
you didn't
but
even know.
hearing a fart in the bathroom is normal.
That's true.
When you're just sitting there minding
That
your own
is
business
true.
waiting for, like, a comedy show or something or concert or whatever to start, that's a little bit
That is
different.
true. If someone came out of the bathroom, if you went into the bathroom and I was waiting for
Mhm.
you and you came out and you were like, "Oh my god, the woman next to me just farted so loud." I would say, "You are the problem."
Yeah, you're in the bathroom, bitch.
Yeah, you're what's wrong in the world. That woman was doing exactly what she should have been doing where she should have been doing it. You're the issue. Yes, that's exactly right. I take that back.
Let's get on with the show here.
Was
We're
it was the
gonna
comedy
start.
show funny?
Yeah, it was funny.
Was it just a bunch of stand-up people?
Yeah, I mean, it was like Theo Vaughn when we went, like, it was, like, 2 openers and then the main guy, Shane Gillis.
Oh, 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 oh. Oh, you went to, like, an actual person.
Yeah.
Oh. We still need to go to the Laughing Skull one night.
Yeah, we do.
So fun. I feel like you would laugh the whole time. Uh, okay, let me bring up
It's
my
episode 200.
200. That's crazy.
It is kinda crazy when you think about it.
It's so crazy.
I was nosing through our messages the other day and I saw somebody from Australia had messaged us and was like, "Love the podcast." And I went to her page and she had, like, I don't know, 24,000 followers or some shit. I was
Yes,
like, "Oh my god.
I
We're
know.
fucking famous."
And she shared us in her story too.
Ooh, okay.
I
Thank you,
know.
queen.
I was gonna message you about that, and I was like, "Relax, Candace, relax. Don't let it go to your head." But yeah, that was really fun. Okay, so we've talked about this before, or we've talked about doing this topic before, and so we're
Mhm.
trying to find a case discussion to do, and I don't know. I feel like we've done all the juicy ones. And I just can't talk
Definitely
about.
haven't. I
Oh
wanted to do
yeah,
West Memphis 3, but you didn't
we.
seem into it.
Well, I did. It just the difference is I feel like you have like gained information about it over such a long period of time. And I was right, and I was trying to like force it all
Yeah.
in just like a few articles that I was reading. We can definitely talk about it. I just feel like I need more time. I need to dig more and read more than just like one article. Um so we're going to talk about Dr. Phil today.
Mhm.
And all of the more so like the negatives against him and allegations from guests, etc. Um, he's gotten some hate, um, and people also debate if he's not. Do you think he's technically a doctor? Like, would you call him a doctor?
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is really annoying, actually, that people are like, "He's not even licensed." Okay, he's still a fucking doctor.
Right,
He got his doctorate. He's still a
right,
doctor. People can be
right.
a doctor of anything because they get their doctorate degree in that field. But he
Right.
purposely does not have his license because he is not actually practicing
Exactly right.
therapy. He's not a
Right. So
practicing therapist. He's an
yeah.
entertainment. And also, he probably did that on purpose because it opens him up to all kinds of liabilities and stuff like that if he is actually
Right.
licensed. And this board in California where he films his show said that because his show is just for entertainment purposes and he doesn't actually like do therapy on the show, that he
Sure.
doesn't need one.
Yeah,
So,
and for some reason, I think a lot of people for some reason, a lot of people think that he lost his license or his license was revoked or something. He just
mhm.
didn't renew it in
Right.
2006 or 2007 or something, which is just like you said, he still got his doctorate, which I'm not so I have a cosmetology license. If I don't renew my license, it doesn't mean I'm not still a hairstylist. I just
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
renew my license. So the knowledge is still there. He's just not, like you said, he's not a therapist. He's not a psychologist anymore. He just has an entertainment show. He doesn't need his license
Yeah. And also, I think he
to do a
started
talk
out as a
show.
therapist, but I don't think he liked that because he got into consulting really quickly.
Yeah.
And he has said, I think at some point, that he didn't like being a therapist. He didn't like that kind of atmosphere, I guess, or that kind of job. And
Hmm.
so he got into consulting, and then that's how he met Oprah. And then Oprah got him on her show, and then she gave him his own show in 2002. And that's kind of how the Dr. Phil show was born. Um,
Hmm.
I will say, like, I've always loved Dr. Phil. Like,
Hmm.
that was always what I would watch, like, every day after school. I feel like I could probably owe a lot of my emotional intelligence that I do have to Dr. Phil,
Yeah.
and just like watching stuff and kind of absorbing what he says. And I get like a lot of people don't like him because he's so like abrasive sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of a good thing, and he forces people to acknowledge like their responsibility in
Yeah.
certain situations, and I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I never didn't like him until the last few years, when the first things when I started to read of other people that didn't like him and why they didn't like him, and then I started to like pinpoint and pay attention like more and more and more when I would watch an episode, cuz
Yeah.
just like you, I watched it every single day. My dad watched it every single day. It was on every single day at like 5 o'clock or
Mhm.
6 o'clock or something. I watched it every day. And I never, until someone said, "Oh, he's a phony and he's this and he's that." I was like, "Oh, what are you talking about? I've never noticed that before." And then
Yeah.
you can look it up and you can see all these people's opinions and stuff. But I feel like in general, unless it's a talk show, I think we'll both agree that unless it's a talk show that's like a celebrity interviewing a celebrity, like Ellen DeGeneres or the Kelly Clarkson
Right.
show or something, unless it's like a like talk shows like Dr. Phil's are so like problematic and exploitive, like Jerry Springer and Morty, and you're just taking like people's real life situations for views and interviewing them for views basically.
Yeah.
So it,
Well, see, I think a lot of people argue like that's what Dr. Phil is doing. Like he's exploiting people and all these things, but I don't think that's true because number one, they asked to be on the show. It's not like he goes up to people on the street and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come on my show and talk about all your family drama and all the skeletons in your closet?" And they're
yeah,
like, "Yeah." I mean, they asked to come on the show because they
sure,
want his help,
sure,
and they usually want some kind of treatment or whatever he offers them like for free because there usually is some kind of like, I'm going to send you to this treatment facility, I'm going to do this or that, and it's on his dime or the show's dime, you could say.
yeah.
um so I get there is a little bit of an exploitative factor there because they are maybe uh dependent on Dr. Phil for this kind of help. But at the same time, like I said, I just feel like you asked to be on the show.
But
he's gonna make fun of you or air your dirty laundry or whatever. Like, you can't say, like, oh, he took advantage of me. Like, you asked to be there.
I mean, I feel like I wouldn't expect him to make fun of me for whatever I'm going there for. But I feel like the people that are asking to go there are assuming that they are going to get free help, and that's why they want to
Mhm.
go. And then
Mhm.
and then a lot of times, like, just the questions he asks and the way he goes about stuff is, it's like he asks questions that he already knows the answer to, that just kind of
Yeah.
makes you like look dumb. And so I don't know, I feel like in the back of a lot of these people's heads, they're like, okay, like I look like an idiot right now, but if I'm going to get help out of this, like free help, free mental health, then it's worth it, right? And they don't always, some people do, but I don't feel like they always get the help that they intended on getting when they left.
Yeah, there was the one that started kind of making me lean towards, like, yeah, like maybe Dr. Phil isn't like the best. Like, I still like Dr. Phil, and I think that he's smart and he can be insightful at times, and maybe he's done a lot of good, donating to charities and helping all these people and bringing like mental health awareness to everybody. But there was this one situation where this woman named Joelle brought her daughter Caitlin to the show, and Caitlin was pregnant and she was a heroin addict. Did you get any information on that?
So I have something about I did mark down something about a pregnant girl who came, and I didn't have her name though. It was like anonymous, the thing that I read, but so sometimes a lot of these like addicts suffering from whatever addiction or alcohol or drugs or whatever, they're in the hotel room for like 1 or 2 days. And so she was pregnant, and she went on the street like looking for drugs, and
Mhm.
cameras followed her.
Yeah, so the mom said that she started going through withdrawal and she was
Yeah.
worried about it hurting the baby. So they took her to the hospital, and then Caitlin left after 4 hours of sitting in the hospital and not getting any help. And the camera crew followed them to Skid Row for her to go get
Mhm.
drugs. She got the drugs, she did the drugs, and then they took her back to the hotel room. Then the next day on the Dr. Phil show, Dr. Phil like confronted the mom about it. Like, you took
Yeah.
your pregnant daughter to go get drugs, and now she just shot up heroin, and now that baby has heroin in its bloodstream. Which, yeah, like on the surface, like you're like, yeah, how could she do that? But then at the same time, you're like, wait a second, the camera crews were there.
Right.
Like, why didn't they do anything to step in to help? Like,
Right.
I feel like if he was going to offer her help, like, in my view, if this was possible, which I feel like if it's Dr. Phil, like he should be able to like pull some strings or whatever. If the camera people knew, and
Yeah.
maybe they didn't communicate this to Dr. Phil, but they should have, like,
Yeah.
because in good conscience, how can you let a pregnant woman do drugs? I don't
Yeah.
really see how you can do that.
Yeah.
But they should have like contacted Dr. Phil, and then Dr. Phil should have had some kind of emergency treatment center that he could have taken her to,
Right. Right.
and be done with it then. But instead, of course, like they have to get their money's
Well,
worth out of her, and they've got to have her on the show.
and
So,
when you're bringing a drug addict or someone that is an alcoholic onto the set, and then they're waiting in these hotel rooms for 1 or 2 days, I would think at the very least, because you're not like, they're not filming as soon as they arrive. Like, and I just learned that looking this up. They're there for like a day or two, and then they get a call time and they have to be there and whatever.
yeah.
But they want you there so far in advance, just in case there's any like transportation issue or whatever. I would think at the very least, especially if you have an alcoholic or someone that's addicted to drugs, you would have like a nurse or
Yeah, something. You would have something
something.
in place.
because that was
Like,
one
okay,
of,
we're
like,
gonna have this person here to help you get through the
ye
next few days.
right, like, we know what we're working with, we've done this before, but then I feel like the staff followed her, and then it was kinda used against her, like, I brought you all the way out here for this help, and then you go and try to find drugs when you get here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, well, yeah, like, I was having withdrawals, I'm an addict, like, what are you supposed to do? But then
Yeah, I
turns
know
it
that
around in a way where, do you not want this help?"
I didn't like that. And then the other one was this guy Todd. I guess he was the winner
Yes.
of Survivor or whatever.
Yeah.
He claims that, and I have a little bit more of an issue with his story. I mean, as far as like I'm a little bit more on Dr. Phil's side for this one, but he claims that, he had an alcohol problem or whatever. Him and his family flew out. He was sober. He got to his dressing room, and in his dressing room there was vodka, and he drank the
Mhm.
whole bottle.
Mhm.
And I mean, he was there to talk about his alcohol problems.
Yeah.
And this bottle of vodka was in there and he drank it, and then they brought him out on the stage. Now, as far as my problem with Dr. Phil and the producers of the show, because I don't think we can put it all like just on Dr. Phil. I think the producers and stuff like have a lot of uh responsibility here too. But they bring him out and he's drunk, and like on one hand, maybe that's good because you're bringing awareness to the issue, and sometimes unfortunately a little humiliation might go a long way. If you're humiliated on TV, and it might like inspire you to change more or something, I don't know. But it's not necessarily right to let this person come up on stage and be blackout drunk, where he can't even walk. He couldn't even walk on his own
Yeah, they
onto the
carried
stage.
him out.
Yeah, they had to carry him out, and then he's not able to like genuinely participate in this conversation about his problems, because what kind of answers is he going to give? Like, how could
Wait,
this even be good?
do you not believe do you think he brought the vodka himself? You don't think that it was in the room when he got there?
I don't know what to believe as far as that is concerned.
I don't know why, after just seeing his interview, not his interview on the show, but later when because he's talked about it multiple times,
Hmm.
I fully believe that it was in there as like a, we don't want to deal with like with the withdrawals kind of thing, and if you're an alcoholic, here's your vodka, like we want you in your like state that you're always in to be able to conduct this episode kind of thing. I fully believe it was in there. He said there was mixers in there, everything. He drank the whole bottle, and then he was so inebriated and he was upset and freaking out that he wasn't going to get the help, that the staff, someone gave him a Xanax, and he said he
Yeah.
had never taken a Xanax in his life. So then he was even like more fucked up and literally drug out on stage. I just think like, I mean, and I get that. I don't know. I want to say I understand like the humiliation kind of part, but that guy was so far out of his own mind. He didn't even realize that he was being humiliated. Like
Yeah, I
he could
know.
not
It's
even
like
form a sentence. He had no clue what was going on.
it would have been different, and I didn't watch the whole episode, so I don't actually know how the whole thing went, but it
Oh,
would have been different if maybe they just like showed like a little clip of him, and they were
yeah.
like, we couldn't perform the interview because this was the state that he
Right.
was in.
Right.
Like, that might be a little bit different, but they did try to like do like a whole show and have him like up on the stage, and they made him do like a breathalyzer. And
Yeah,
then
he did a breathalyzer in front of the entire audience.
yeah, and then he relapsed.
Yeah.
Like, he got treatment or whatever, and then he relapsed, and they brought him on the show drunk again. Which, that's why I say, if he knew, like, they planted this vodka there, right? And they set him up for failure, why would you come back?
Why would
Why
you? Yeah.
wouldn't you talk about that when you came on the show again? and say, hey, well, you guys set me up for failure. You guys are the ones that set up the vodka bar in
Well, I
my
don't remember.
room.
I don't remember if the first time he went, did he go to like a rehab facility or a treatment plan or anything that was like set up through the show. I don't remember that. If he did follow through with anything like that, so maybe he relapsed after that, and so that is why he went back, because they did actually put him in some kind of program. I don't know, that maybe worked like temporarily, or that he did follow through with. So maybe he was like, okay, like this time I'll get it right, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
And the people
Because
at the
also like I get if you're an alcoholic, but I mean, no one like force fed him the vodka either. If it was in your
right.
dressing room, like that's not right, but like you also didn't have to drink the whole bottle,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
his dad had a separate dressing room. So I'm saying, like, if you know you have a problem, and look, I get it. If you're addicted or an
Yeah.
alcoholic, which is the same thing,
Yeah.
if you're addicted, you're not going to necessarily turn it down. But if you want help, the options are there, like
Yeah.
for you to turn around as soon as you see that vodka bottle and go to your dad and say, "There's vodka in there. I can't be in there by
Yeah.
myself."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like too many times we take the decision making away from addicts when, like, you can still make a choice. Like,
Mhm.
at some point, everybody who gets sober, who gets clean, you make a choice. And sometimes you have to make that choice over and over again because you relapse or whatever. But
Yeah.
at some point, you are making a choice every single time you're presented with an opportunity.
Yeah. I also just feel like I don't know why, because mainly because I've been looking up like negatives about Dr. Phil. In the back of my mind, I'm like, that that was meticulously placed in there so he would drink it, so they could have a show that was a shit show. Like, does everyone
Hmm.
have a bottle of Smirnoff in their dressing room when they get there? Does every
I do wonder if,
alcoholic that comes on have alcohol in
yeah.
their dressing room when they get there? You know?
So, like, on the defense, I'm like, well, they could have that for everybody, or maybe it was just set up by the producers because
Yeah.
sometimes. But then on the other hand, against Dr. Phil, it's like, well, he is the one that is always kind of talking about how, like, he runs the show and no one
Right.
tells him what to do on his show. And
Right.
so he should know about it if that is true. If they set it up, then he would know about it, and that would be really shitty for him
Yeah.
to know about it. And then at the same
Yeah.
time, he also has the decision making power to see this person being so drunk he has to be carried out and saying, like, we're not doing this show today.
Right.
We're gonna call up the other guests that we have
Yeah. Like, he needs
and have
help
them come on
behind closed
instead.
doors. We're not going to publicly embarrass him when he has no clue what's even going on right
Hmm.
now. So let's just move on to something else.
And then also, like, you would just think, if this is a show that is supposed to be about getting better and, like, getting people help, even if, like, he brought his own stuff, like, you would think there's just, like, safeguards in place
Yeah.
for someone like that. But it
What do you
really,
mean? Like,
because
you
it
can't.
is for entertainment, it feels like it's, like, more like, he is set up for failure, which sucks. It does suck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There was another girl who was like a heroin addict, and so I guess she had read I don't remember her name, but I guess she had read reports of like, you're in the hotel or whatever for however long, you have no idea when your call time is, and these people are going through withdrawals and stuff, and she said that the staff let her bring heroin to the set because
That's pretty crazy.
she wasn't going to be able to do the show.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, you can bring it. And the only reason that she outed them afterwards is because she went to one of these, like, Hannah's house or one of these little facilities or whatever that was a shit show. And she said, I didn't get any help. Also, they let me bring heroin on set.
And that's kind of the shady part to me, is, like, I feel like even if Dr. Phil feels like or says like he runs the show or whatever, there probably are like some producers that are like, no, this will be good. This will be good TV. Like the woman who
Yeah.
gave that Todd guy a Xanax. I don't think Dr. Phil
Yeah.
told her like go give him a Xanax. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. And so many
Like,
people, I was on Reddit, and so many people that have been on the show were saying that
mhm,
you, under no circumstance, talk to Dr. Phil off stage. You don't talk to him in the hallway if you see him behind the set, backstage. Like, you do not speak to him. Everything that he speaks to his guest about is all on stage. You don't talk in commercial
mhm.
breaks to him. You don't talk behind the set. So yeah, I feel like, he likes to say like I'm the big guy, I run the show, but also there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of people working for him behind the scenes that I don't think that he knows every single thing. I don't think his hand is in the pot for every single thing. He's not handling these guests one on one, getting them there and getting them out, and he's just on stage with them for whatever 40 minutes or something. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think he knows everything.
And then there was like an incident where when Britney Spears was having her meltdown in 2008, he went and visited
Yeah.
her in the hospital, and then he like did an interview about it or like made some kind of report, and
Did
her
you
family
know
was
about
like,
that before this?
I no, I don't recall
I
knowing
didn't
anything about
either.
it.
I didn't either.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, like that's unprofessional and stuff, but again, like it's not like he was a licensed doctor, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have to adhere to HIPAA
Yeah.
because he's not a doctor
Right.
in that sense.
Right.
He's, just
And
he holds a doctorate degree, but he's not a
well,
therapist.
don't you think that that's like what we said earlier, like how some things are so clearly just for exploitation and for views. Like he went to the hospital she was at when, I mean, this is like the main breakdown she had, the head shaving, the
Mhm.
whole situation. He goes to the hospital and tries to talk to her family to get an interview with her at the lowest darkest point in her life. And they're like, yeah, no, absolutely not. You got to give him credit because
Well, I think like
everyone,
at first, like they were gonna talk to him or whatever, and then when he came out and made a statement, they were like they felt betrayed by him.
mm,
Because they thought they were under the impression like he's a doctor, so he's not going to talk about this. It's private, but he's not
oh, right.
treating her, so he's not obligated to keep anything private. Is it morally wrong? Maybe. I don't even know the details of everything that he said,
Yeah.
but
Did you see also that? So, I mean, you got to give him credit. He does get some good interviews on. Like when he interviewed Casey Anthony's parents, that was like the first interview they had done in years. They didn't want to do it. They denied
mhm.
it. And then Kaylee has some foundation or something, and he donated $600,000 to her
Oh, wow.
foundation after George and Cindy denied doing an interview with him. Then he donated to the foundation, and then they, I guess, like felt kind of guilty, like maybe his heart's in
Yeah.
the right place. Like let's do the interview with him. Isn't that crazy? That you can just have
Yeah,
that.
and you know what? I do like that he asks the hard questions though. Like sometimes, he'll have people on and people think like he's being mean. But
Yeah.
is he being mean or is he just trying to get down to business and, ask
Like you
questions
don't
that
want
we
to,
want to know?
yeah, you don't want to answer and you know the truth and you think he's an asshole because he's asking you something
Yeah.
that no one in your family has been blunt enough or hard enough on you to ask before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, it's so hard because there is a lot that I like about him, but then when I really think about it, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. Some
But
stuff he does
like
go a
he's
little
not your
hard on.
family. He's not your family though. He's not your friend. If you want help, you're here to get help. If you, I don't know, if
Mhm.
he does really, he's very cutthroat. Okay, let's talk about Danielle Bergoli.
Catch me
Bad,
outside. How about it?
bad baby.
All these
So
hoes out here laughing like something funny.
Okay, so everyone knows her. She went viral. She was super, super disrespectful on stage to everyone, to her mother mainly.
Mm-hmm.
She was had like violent tendencies. She was stealing things. She was smoking weed. She just her mom was desperate. Her mom needed help. The way I felt about her when I watched that episode versus how I feel about her now is very different. I mean, she was like the laughing stock of the entire season. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she went viral in like a funny way, but a very negative way if you think about she was 13 years old.
Yeah, I know.
She was only 13 years old and she was being laughed at by an audience full of adults and made fun of by
Mm-hmm. And
Dr.
made into
Phil.
a meme, and then everybody
Yeah.
just.
Her whole entire character, personality, everything to me, her whole like demeanor on stage at 13 years old, that is just a cry for help in my opinion, but instead she was made into a meme and she was mocked, and after going somewhere for help, essentially, even if her mind she's like, this is just bullshit, I'm going to be on TV and that's cool, and nothing else is going to become of this. But if you think about her mom, who in her mind was like, this is a last resort, this is just, I don't know, I just imagine how her mom felt like, I brought you here as a last resort for help and instead you just go viral in a meme, and or you're just everyone's just gonna quote you for the rest of their lives, you know?
Yeah. Well, they sent her to the ranch,
Yeah, Turnabout Ranch.
Turnabout Ranch, and
Mhm. And that's a
they
if you
did
don't
this
watch
like little update, and then she was like, "I love it here." She's like riding a horse, and like she doesn't have any of her eyelashes or fingernails
yeah,
on, and
she
she
looks
like looks
so
like a normal
different.
13-year-old again. And
Yeah.
they
But
talk
if
about
you
how well she's doing.
if you don't watch the Dr. Phil show, the Turnabout Ranch is like a troubled teen program that Dr.
Hmm.
Phil swears by. I don't know if he even swears by it or if it's like one of the only
He
places
does.
that would work with him.
Yeah,
Um,
he like, and that's part of the problem with it is it's like this place that he endorses, and also like they obviously probably pay him something to
yeah.
like promote it. But according to her, it was like torture being there.
Yeah,
Like,
so she
if
claimed
you're
there
familiar
was
with Paris Hilton's story
uh-huh.
about that crazy ass boarding school that she was at,
The
it's very
provocation
similar.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they take
Yes.
everything away from you. They treat you like shit. They make you sleep
Yeah.
on the fucking concrete with
There's,
no
like,
pillow.
no phones, monitored calls. She said the first 3 days that she was there, you just are sitting in this little, like, open teepee that's outside. For 3 days, you're sitting there. You cannot sleep, you cannot, like, slouch over, you can't close your eyes, anything like that. She has no cell
Yeah.
phone, she has no, like, personal belongings. She said that there was physical torture and brutal punishment. She said that there was someone watching constantly. She witnessed a 16-year-old die from a heat stroke after a hike that they were doing. He had like 80 pounds in a book bag and he went on they were forced to all do this hike and he had a heat stroke and died. But her perspective on it was kind of like, because Dr. Phil basically said, "Why would you not complain about this when you got out? Why would you not complain about this when it happened?" And that's the thing with like the way that she was treated on the show and like the outcome of her being on the show and everybody was laughing and it was so funny and, oh, did you see the Catch Me Outside girl? It's like she's like, no one's gonna believe me after what everyone saw of me on the show. Like, who's gonna believe me? And if this is
Yeah.
like his sacred facility where he sends people to, and then I'm this 13-year-old girl with like a shit attitude.
And
I-
also, she was 13. You
right,
expect her to know that to report something to the proper
right,
authorities.
right,
She told
right.
her mom that the place was horrible and that she wanted
Begged
to
her.
leave,
Yeah.
but, you know, of course, it's like Paris Hilton did the same thing with her parents. It's like you tell your
Yeah.
parents like this place is horrible, I want to leave, and the parents are just thinking like, oh, she's just trying to come home, like she's
Right.
bad,
They don't
just
have
being she's lying.
Right. They're more so thinking, "Oh, she's pissed she doesn't have a phone and they don't have any
Right.
of the snacks she likes." Not that people are being assaulted and, like,
And there was even a
are
murder while
dying.
she was there because there was
Yes.
some kid, I don't think she witnessed it, but she knew what was going on, and there was, like, this kid that, I don't know, hit somebody with a blunt object or something, and the guy wound up dying, but, I mean, it was, like, a really bad place to be, it sounded like,
Yeah.
and then it was funny because, she came back on and did this whole, like, update thing, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, it was great, I'm glad I went," it's like she's saying after the fact, like, "Well, I knew that was what they wanted to hear, like, and it was just for the show."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, that's one of my favorite from when she came back to talk to Dr. Phil.
Mhm.
She had blown up and everything, and it's so funny because she's still actually kind of being, like, bad and disrespectful and shit. She's, like, basically saying something like, "I made you," to Dr. Phil, like, "You were nothing before me, I made you."
Oh, girl.
I made you famous because, I came on and whatever. And he goes, "Thank you for that." And that's one of my favorite gifts to send people when they
Oh,
say something that, isn't
thank you
really
for
like a
that.
compliment or whatever. I'll be like,
I
"Thank you
wonder
for that."
I wonder if he thinks that about her. If he's like, "She is who she is because she was on my show."
Probably.
You know? But she said there was assault and battery there, negligent hiring and supervision, intentional infliction and emotional distress, emotional abuse, medical neglect. But I think she spoke out mainly after the situation with that girl Hannah happened.
That
So
she said she was sexually assaulted or something.
yeah, and then the judge, so this girl Hannah that also went to the Turnabout Ranch complained that she was sexually assaulted while she was there. And then her and her family, I guess, tried to sue the ranch, and then the judge sided with the ranch. And then Danielle, who went there, was like, "I okay, this is my time to like speak out. I got to say about all the things that
And it was like
I."
5 years after Danielle went there.
Right, and so that's when Dr. Phil was like, "Well, if all this happened when you
Yeah.
were there, a normal person would have complained about it then, really." But so Danielle was like, "Yeah, we got to do something. I got to speak out." And she's pretty famous. I mean, I don't know if famous is the right word, but like I think she's like a top earner on OnlyFans. She's made
Yeah, she
music.
was.
Like she has like millions of followers. So whether you're a fan or not, she has a platform where if she wanted to speak about something like this,
Yeah.
like people would listen. So she teamed up with the Breaking Code Silence, and that's also the thing that Paris Hilton has talked about, the organization that prevents abuse and empowering survivals of troubled teen industry. So she posted a video on YouTube basically talking about her experience and kind of demanded an apology from Dr. Phil.
Mhm.
And said, you got to stop sending kids here, or she's going to speak out about every single thing that she witnessed also in her 6 month stay. And it's totally and completely, and I know she was a minor when she was taken there, but it's totally and completely against your will. Like they just come, we talked about this when the Paris Hilton documentary came out too, because it was the same exact experience. They just
Yeah,
come
they,
and
like, kidnap you, basically.
yes, just come get you from your house in the middle of the night. Did you see that? There was, I forget the girl's name, but there was another episode where and she was around the same age, like 12, 13, 14.
Mhm.
Her and they recorded it. This mother let these cameras for the Dr. Phil show come into her house in the middle of the night. Her daughter was sleeping in her room. These two men, grown ass men, come, like bodyguard looking men, come into this girl's room, wake her up from her bed and say, "Come on, you're coming with us." And it's all recorded, and the mom is just standing in the doorway crying and
Yeah.
apologizing, which also doesn't look like your it didn't appear like the mom was in on it. It looked like the mom was apologizing for her daughter getting kidnapped and she can do anything about it. Because the girl wakes up completely in like a disarray, so confused, has no idea what's going on. And she's like, "Mom, who are these people? Where am I going? What are you talking about?" And the mom is just crying and saying, "Sorry. Like, I can't help you." But the mom's point of view was like, "I've done all I can do. Like, I can't save
Yeah.
you. You gotta go somewhere else." But the girl was like, "I'm being fucking kidnapped right now. Like, what call the police. Like, what the hell is happening? It's so scary, especially for someone that age. If you're like 18 and a punk ass whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
these girls that are like 12 and 13,
I know.
just
I feel way differently about it now than I used to, but like ever since honestly the Paris Hilton thing like shed a lot of light on it, I never really thought about it
yeah,
being that bad. But
yeah.
I mean that is like
It's
that's too extreme.
traumatic. Right.
Like there I can agree with being sent to some kind of place where maybe you don't have a phone and you don't have, you know, all of life's great uh but I can't even think of the word, but you know, all these like leisurely things like the
Yeah.
internet and all that. Maybe you do go work on a ranch. But I mean,
Yeah.
you should still get regular meals. You should still be
Right.
treated like a human being. You should still get
Right.
to shower and sleep in a
Right.
bed. I think like there's a like you could just maybe turn it down a little.
And I don't have a rowdy teenage daughter yet, and so I know that some moms are like, well, if I told her this is where we're going and this is what we're doing and this is when it's happening, she would just run away. I understand that, I get that,
Yeah,
but the scare tactic that's a part of it just seems so unnecessary to me.
I know.
It's
It's like way too
just
traumatic.
Yes, and like this mom, oh my god, that episode. This mom just standing and screaming and crying in the doorway just made it seem like she had nothing to do with what was happening. And she was like, "Sorry, bye." I mean, it was so fucked up. It was terrifying. I don't know if you know who Ashley Banfield is. You'd probably recognize her face if you saw her. She's on some
Sounds
like news.
familiar.
She does a ton of interviews and she's on some like news network, but she interviewed Dr. Phil after
Oh,
Danielle
yeah, yeah.
after Danielle Bregoli demanded this apology or whatever. And Dr. Phil said, "We don't have anything to do with what happens with guests once they leave the stage. That's between the guardian and the parent and whatever facility they go to. We're not involved in that. We don't have any feedback from them. So whatever happens when they're there, that's between them and the facility. I assume if she had a problem, she filed a complaint with the proper authorities and something 5 years ago." So
Hmm.
not only is he saying he doesn't know what happens once they leave the stage, he's also saying he doesn't really care.
Well, then Danielle said like her mom signed some kind of like release form that they could send progress reports to Dr. Phil. But the thing is, like, the Turnabout Ranch isn't going to be like, yeah, we starved her for 3 days and we did this and we beat her or whatever. You know, like, they're not going
Sure.
to tell him all of that, right?
Sure.
They're still trying to keep a good relationship with Dr. Phil. So if if they do send him any updates, I'm sure it's just, oh, Danielle's doing great. She's following the program. She's
Yeah.
been good. You know,
But do you not think, I mean, would you not want to talk to the person? Would he not want to talk directly to Danielle? Like you interviewed this girl, promised her help, and then she was at this facility that you recommended for 6 months. You don't want to follow up with her while she's there and be like, how do you feel? How do
yeah, I mean,
you
you would think that the human side would come in to play there and that he would. And I'm like, okay, I know he's got a lot going on, but at the same time, like you can't do like
or
a
even
10-second check-in
right, and even not him specifically, like, if you're so busy, but
or just
I'm
like your
sure
people.
the staff is ginormous, I'm sure. That's not one person's job
Yeah, there should
to
be one
check
intern that's
on
assigned to like following up with people and asking how
someone.
things are.
Yes, even an intern, someone to just be like, "Oh, Danielle was at this facility you sent her to for half a year."
Yeah.
Do you not wanna know what her experience was like?
Well, I guess in his defense, he brought her back on to talk about how her experience was, but still, it was like kind of according to her because she was still bad afterwards. She was like, it was all for show. I just said those things because it
Yeah,
was what they wanted to hear and
yeah.
whatever. But
Did you see do you know about the interview with Shelley Duvall, the actress?
yeah, I know that she had like a lot of mental health issues. So Dr. Phil had her on and she said a lot of crazy shit. And I get that that feels like exploitative, but it did seem like he genuinely tried to get her help afterwards and she refused it. And
Yeah.
then I think he sent her to or sent someone over to her I think she was staying with her sister or something.
Yeah.
And he sent someone over because she didn't want to be medicated. And so he sent
Right.
someone over that would like help her without prescribing her medications.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were mad about that, but I don't know.
It was very similar to the episode with Todd, in my opinion. Like, someone also, just her appearance when
Oh
she was on
yeah.
the show was so alarming. And even like I read that they even do like hair and makeup touch-ups and outfits for the audience. And every person that's on stage has hair, makeup,
Well,
outfit.
what if she refused it though?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, she must
Yeah.
have refused it, because I feel like her appearance alone made her look like 10 times worse off than she was. It was so alarming to see. She must have just said, absolutely, under no circumstance are you doing hair and makeup on me, which maybe she did, maybe, but we don't actually know. So they could
Mm-hmm.
have said, "Oh, great, she looks really fucking crazy, so let's just leave it. Let's not touch her up." That way everyone knows like exactly what's going on in her life, or she could have refused it. But I can't think of another I can't think of another person I've seen before that looked the way that she looked on the show.
But has anyone been that
On her level.
crazy? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Anyone, I will say, anyone that has ever been like pretty crazy looks that way.
Looks
That's on the
crazy.
show. So
Yeah.
they probably refuse. That's what I think.
So when Shelley was on there, that sparked a lot of actors and actresses. There was like this whole Twitter war, and they were like tagging Dr. Phil and stuff. But the one tweet was from Mia Farrow, who's also an actress, which that I agreed with. She said there should be laws to protect mentally ill people from TV talk show predators like Dr. Phil, who's exploiting Shelley for his own gain. Because basically, like, he talks about integrity so much, but it's just another, like, if he really cared about her as a person, which he claimed that he did, and he really wanted to help her. It's like the same with Todd. Like, your show is already successful. Wouldn't you want to
Yeah.
just get her the help that she needs behind closed doors, instead of asking her these like horrible, embarrassing questions that just make everything look 10 times worse? If you really want to help her, just do it, and no one needs to even know about it. And then
Yeah.
one day when she's 100%, she can say, "You know what? 10 years ago, Dr. Phil saved my life."
Yeah, that's true.
She just oh, she and I know a lot of it, she did a lot of it to herself, but she just looks so horrible. But he did say, Dr. Phil said, we work, because this is another interview he did, because after she was on the show, shit hit the fan. He said, we worked with her for over a year off camera after the fact, providing her opportunities for inpatient and outpatient psychiatric care. I can't tell you the extent we went to. Um, Turning the critical lens back on those who condemn the interview. He said nobody asked them what they ever did to try and help her, and the answer is not a damn thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't really know her family, or who, I mean, and she's passed away now, but I don't really know her family or what anyone else did or tried to do. I don't know. Her case may be a little different, but I feel like a lot of these people that he has on, you don't, not every single thing has to be recorded. If you're actually out here, if you do have the resources to really help people, you don't, not every single thing needs to be on the show,
Yeah.
you know. And all I could find from her was that she said she regretted being on the show, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
It could be for a multitude of reasons. um and no matter the situation, no matter who's on the show, the a lot of times, like, I saw a lot of clips of like people getting aggravated about the audience and about this, and like very vulnerable people who assume that they are going to receive help. Every single person that's in the audience is there for Dr. Phil. They're fans of Dr. Phil. they're gonna agree with every single thing that he says and cheer him on and agree with him no matter the situation. They're not there for the alcoholic or the anxious and depressed, or like the abused people or the children or the vulnerable, whatever. They don't care. They're there for Dr. Phil. They're going to agree with every single thing that he says. And then
Yeah.
you're just sitting there. It sounds so intimidating and scary. Did you?
But I feel like you should know, like, that's what you're going into.
Yeah.
The show is like public knowledge. You can watch the show before you go on to it, and you're going to see exactly how you're going to be treated
Yeah.
and what he's going to say. And
Well, and at the at the end of the day, it's people like me and you who've seen hundreds of episodes that keep the show on the air, you know?
mm-hmm.
Because it's a shit show. And people like to see you like to see people that are doing worse than you. No
Yeah.
one wants to see like a healthy intervention. No one asks.
But I think it's like a little bit different as far as like it's not like as bad as like Maury or Jerry Springer, because those shows, it is truly just showing you all the bad shit. At least with Dr. Phil, he's like trying to help a little bit. And so you feel a little bit better about yourself for watching the show because he's helping. Even if
Yeah.
he's being an asshole about it at the same time, like, but that's kind of like the entertainment factor.
But my thing is, I don't think he helps every single time. I don't think every single person that's on the show leaves feeling like they got help. You know? So sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, well, I just watched this couple argue about like he's beating the shit out of his wife. And then they go on the Dr. Phil show and then there's no more domestic violence. You know? But then also they agreed to go on the show.
Yeah.
So then you don't feel that bad because I'm like, what did you think? You thought your husband was never going to beat you again because you guys talked to Dr. Phil? Like that's also not the way it works. I just feel like we like the shit shows. We like them. No one wants to see like oh, Nancy finally got some help and she's in rehab or she stopped drinking, and you're like, oh, good for her. But if you
Yeah.
hear like, oh, Nancy lost custody of her kids and lost her job, I would ask 40 follow-up questions. Like you want that, you know? Did you watch Dr. Grande?
Yeah, I
Talked
did.
about. You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if it's the first time you ever brought him up, I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot stand this guy," but I actually love him.
Yeah, he's really funny.
I really do love him, and I feel like even if I disagree with him, I agree with him.
Yeah, I
If
know.
I think the opposite and then he tells me his thought, I'm like, that's the way I feel too. You're absolutely right.
I know. There's been a couple of cases where I'll watch the video that he did on it, and I don't always agree with him. Sometimes we do agree, but
Yeah.
even if like his outcome is different than mine,
Yeah.
he lays it all out. He'll be like, "Let's talk about the idea for and against
Yes.
this, whatever the topic
And
is." And so,
I love how he said right from the start. He tells you right from the start that he's not a fan of Dr. Phil, but he's not going to let it interfere with his thoughts
yeah,
on the way Dr. Phil like works with mental health people. And it's also very funny to me that he kept calling him Phil McGraw. Like he doesn't say Dr.
yeah,
Phil, which tells you also how he feels about him. But he just kind of went into how Dr. Phil claims he isn't a therapist or doesn't need therapy work, but then Dr. Phil only identifies the problem for the guest, which is technically like that's what
yeah.
therapists
And he does
do.
a lot of therapeutic
Yeah,
type things on the
yeah,
show.
yeah. If you are a Dr. Phil fan and none of this has ever even crossed your mind before, look up Dr. Grande's video talking about Dr. Phil because it will really that's the very first thing I watched, and it really got my gears going. Um, I was trying to look up some positives about Dr. Phil, even though I mean, I do like a lot of his episodes, but he
Obviously, a
donates.
lot of this donating and charitable work
Oh my
and all
God,
of
he
that.
donates to like 20 different foundations
Hmm.
annually, thousands and thousands and thousands. He donates over like close to probably millions every year because he donates to so many, and he's worth like $460 million.
Yeah. He needs to get Robin into an eating disorder treatment facility.
Okay, so after I sent you that, there were, I mean, I guess she has a podcast which I've never listened to, but she's talked, I mean, she looks like she would be on the Dr. Phil show
Yeah, she's
for an
so
eating
thin.
disorder. They should do an episode with her because she's not just, she's not skinny. She is like anorexic.
Frail.
Yes. But I guess
Sickly.
yes, I guess she's talked about it on the podcast that she has before, where she has some like a serious stomach situation. I don't know.
Sure.
Listen, I'm just telling you what the internet says. Okay. Anyway, let us know what you think about Dr. Phil. It's a love-hate
Well,
relationship over here.
yeah, my unpopular opinion is I think that eating disorders are a lot like addiction.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that people aren't going to be like, yeah, I have an eating disorder most of the time. They're going to be like, oh no, I have this other problem. That's why I'm so
Right.
thin. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, come on.
Yeah, she's not like fit thin. She is like skin and bones.
Yeah, she's like Ethiopian thin. I don't know
Like
if we're allowed to say that actually.
Halloween decor thin. Okay.
Halloween decor.
Scary. Okay, ready for our ender?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm so
We're gonna rank some things.
I'm so ready. I picked such a good category for you.
Okay, I picked a good one for you too.
Okay, so I'm sure you've seen this on whatever. It's mainly like on TikTok. I don't know how Deanna saw it because she's not on TikTok, but
Because I'm like an old millennial where I see the TikTok videos 3 weeks later on Instagram Reels.
I've not seen this on Instagram before though.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, it's basically a list, and then we'll our both of our lists are very different. I have no idea what her list is, but I have to rank her list best to worst, or and then she's got to rank mine as well. I'm sure you know what we're talking about. Do you want to
Do you
go
have
first?
10?
Yeah, I have 10.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to go first or me?
Um, you go first.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my list.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about this before. At first, I was gonna do foods, but I'm like, God, I make Deanna talk about all the food she hates all the time. So this is something that we've touched on before. I'm gonna have you rank pet names for,
Okay.
for yourself, and everyone I say, you have to imagine Cody calling you this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Number 1, baby girl.
Okay, what's best and what's worst? Like,
No,
so I'm
one
gonna go
is
1
like,
through 10, and
so 10 is like absolutely not. Don't you ever fucking call me that. And 1 is like, okay, I'll answer. Baby girl.
baby girl is gonna be like, I'm gonna anticipate something worse, so I'm gonna say it's an 8.
Okay. Number 2, little mama.
Oh God, little mama, that's gonna be number 9.
Number 3, puss.
Puss.
I know.
I guess I'm gonna put that as 6.
Next one, lover.
That's gonna be number 3.
Next one, snookums.
That's kind of funny, but I'd put it as like 6. I mean number 5. Sorry, because I already have 6.
Next one is princess.
Gross. 7.
Next one is my love.
That's also gross, but a 4, I guess.
Next one is angel. Wait, wait, tell us what numbers you have left. What spaces you
1, 2, and 10.
1, 2, and 10. Angel.
I'm scared of what's coming next. I don't want to put it too high.
Angel. Cody says, "Hey, Angel, how was your day?" I know.
Yeah, I guess 2. That's not too bad.
Next one is kitten.
That's kind of funny. I'm gonna put that at number 1.
I knew I should have taken that off. Okay, and the last one is Sweet Cheeks.
Well, that has to go to number 10, but it's definitely not as bad as some of those other ones.
Which
If
one
I could,
which one is the
I'd
worst?
probably Princess or Baby Girl.
Not Puss?
I mean, I've never heard that
Really?
before. Yeah, I've never heard anyone call anyone that before,
Ugh,
but
Baby Girl is illegal. This should be
it's
illegal.
so bad.
And also, so I found some of these on Reddit, and also, people are saying like when the couple has a significant age gap, and the guy calls the girl baby girl, and she's like
Yeah,
20 years younger.
that's gross.
Sickening. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, for mine, I have reality TV shows.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
All right, 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Oh, number 4.
Okay, 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, that's number 3.
Teen Mom.
Oh, 5.
Love is Blind.
Oh shit, I forgot about all those. Dang. Love is Blind, I'm gonna go I guess 6, I guess.
My 600-Pound Life.
Oh, number 2.
Married at First Sight.
10.
Oh, I forgot you don't like that one that much.
Yeah.
Real Housewives.
9.
Kardashians.
Ooh, 7.
Vanderpump.
Oh, aww.
You've got 2 slots left. And
Vanderpump. Ooh, I feel like I know what number 1 is. I'm gonna do 8 for Vanderpump.
you're not going to know what number 1 is. Jersey Shore.
No. Oh, okay, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not mad about that because I did love Jersey Shore.
What did you think it was going to be?
Sister Wives?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Dang. Okay, I'm fine with that though because Jersey Shore is like an OG one. Sister Wives comes back on Sunday.
Oh, it does?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Would you change it now that you know? Because I feel like you really loved Vanderpump.
I would have put Vanderpump as 1. And Jersey
I
Shore.
wanted to hint at you and tell you should put it at 1, but I didn't want to give it
Damn, I
away.
really thought you were gonna do I don't know why I really thought you were gonna do Sister Wives for some reason. Jersey Shore is so old.
I know.
I guess a lot of those are really old. Okay, but just today I saw a commercial for a new season of Jersey Shore. They're still
Oh,
doing seasons. Isn't that
okay.
weird? I
That is
know.
weird.
I know. Okay, let us know what you think about Dr. Phil. And live, laugh, love.
And we love you and good night.
Good night.